gets with people in their
who are
20s.
19.
In Santos, he actually lied about his age. He said he was 22, but he's actually 19.
You see nothing wrong with that. Like, no, you don't see anything wrong with that. Your kid's over here, she's like, my mother is out here slinging that iron for a 19-year-old. But Santo knows how it smells.
Camila?
Yeah.
They never did anything. That was just for a song. And
Clock that team.
Yeah, I clocked it. Yeah, she clocked my shit. She clocked it.
We're diving into one of the most bizarre and chaotic interviews I've ever seen. Ashley Trevino sat down for what was supposed to be a casual discussion, but instead, she completely exposed herself. We're going to break this down piece by piece, exposing the contradictions, the deflections, and the outright lack of accountability. This interview was a mess, and by the end of it, you're going to see exactly why people are calling her out. Grab your popcorn because this is about to be a wild ride. The Rose toy incident. A total lack of awareness. Santos was caught licking Rose toy on live. What the were you doing with that? First of all, let's just take a moment to process this. Ashley's reaction. She brushes it off. No concern, no embarrassment, nothing. Just a nonchalant, it was just sitting there.
Santos was caught licking your Rose toy on live. What the were you doing with that toy? Brought up to them is not okay. Like, that is not okay. You know, she said she plans on marrying you in Miami.
We already discussed it.
You've already discussed this.
So the most I've ever made on TikTok Live was
In one sitting.
yeah, we've met him when we went to visit.
He's in prison. Why are you laughing?
Let's be real. Why was a 19-year-old boy in your home in that situation to begin with? Why is he so comfortable doing something like that on a live stream? Ashley doesn't even seem remotely bothered by it. There's no shock, no attempt to shut it down, no moment of realization that maybe, just maybe, this whole situation is wildly inappropriate. Instead, she treats it like an everyday occurrence, like it's nothing out of the ordinary for a teenage boy to be licking her personal items on a public platform. And here's where it gets worse. She doesn't stop to think about how this looks to the public, how this impacts her credibility, or what message it sends about her judgment. She just shrugs it off. This is normal behavior in her world. It's not normal. It's disturbing. The fact that she doesn't immediately acknowledge how inappropriate this situation is tells you everything you need to know about her decision making. There is no remorse, no self-reflection, just deflection. She doesn't even attempt to take control of the situation. Even more concerning, she created this environment. It's not like this was a one-time accident. This wasn't a random slip-up. This was her home, her setting, her choice. She invited this person in, allowed this behavior, and then acted as if she had no responsibility in it. And let's not ignore the obvious. This is not the first time Ashley has been involved in messy, boundary-crossing situations. The pattern here is clear. She allows chaos, fuels it, then acts surprised when it spirals out of control. At what point does she step up and say, this is not okay? Because clearly, she hasn't reached that moment yet. That right there, that's the first and definitely not the last major red flag. And it sets the tone for the rest of the interview. Glorifying her inmate hopper reputation. I was actually a prison wife. That's why they call me the inmate hopper.
Of course, you know, like, and it's not only to him, but it's literally to my other exes as well. There's two more that I'm speaking of. Literally, like, as soon as my name started going across the internet and TikTok, of course, they started coming out with certain stories. Oh, I'm the kid's dad's friend. I'm the cousin. I'm the aunt, whatever. Mm-hmm. I guess like now they're trying to get the followers. They're trying to get this. They're trying to get that. But in reality, they weren't there for my kids like they should have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you genuinely believe that these people are coming out and telling the story to try and get fame and publicity, and it's not for closure?
Basically, because if they really wanted to be a part of my kid's life.
Ashley knows she has a reputation, and instead of self-reflecting, She wears it proudly. She embraces it as if it's something to be proud of rather than a concerning pattern that keeps repeating in her life. Rather than take a step back and analyze why she continues to make the same choices, she doubles down, acting as though it's just who she is, refusing to acknowledge the glaring red flags in her own behavior. Look, dating someone with a past is one thing, but actively seeking out to manipulate relationships with men in prison, that's a pattern, a concerning one. It's not just about falling for the wrong guy. It's about repeatedly making the same choice over and over despite the consequences. It's about deliberately putting herself in situations that are destined to fail. Situations that bring chaos into her life and, more importantly, into her children's lives, instead of recognizing that maybe, just maybe, she should make different choices. She continues this cycle like it's some sort of badge of honor. She doesn't just stumble into these relationships, she actively seeks them out. There's a clear attraction of dysfunction, a preference for men who are unavailable, unstable, and incarcerated. It's a pattern that speaks volumes about her mindset. It's one thing to fall for someone with a difficult past, but to repeatedly pursue relationships that lack stability and security, that's a choice. And instead of stopping to reflect on why she continues to attract and gravitate toward these toxic dynamics, she simply brushes it off and keeps repeating the same cycle. And instead of acknowledging that this is affecting her children, she just laughs it off. She treats it like it's an inside joke, as if it's harmless. But it's not harmless. Her kids are growing up watching their mother glorify unhealthy relationships, normalizing instability, and dismissing the very real concerns that come with it. She doesn't pause to think, what kind of example am I setting for my kids? How does this impact their stability, their perception of relationships, their understanding of self-worth? None of that seems to cross her mind. Instead, she continues putting them in the middle of her chaotic personal life, acting as though there are no consequences. There is no self-awareness. No, maybe I should rethink my choices. Not taking a moment to ask herself if her actions are doing damage. Nothing, just brushing it off like it's funny, like it's entertainment for the internet. It's not. The internet might be entertained, but her children are the ones living with the real consequences of her choices. And that's the saddest part.
I try to tell everybody, but of course, I'm always going to be the villain in their book. Right. They've already got this persona that they have of me, and that's just who I am to them. So honestly, I've raised my kids since they were born, never left their side. Till this day, still have not left their side.
But people would say that they're with their grandparents majority of the time.
Well, the little one does live with me, but recently she went back for a bit. But my parents helped me raise them after me and their dad split up. So, of course, whenever you're kind of raised by your mom and your grandparents, you kind of fall into like a grandparent's baby, so to speak. And so, I've never been the one to be like, no, you can't go to their house, if that's where they feel more comfortable at, then why not, but I still legally have custody of my kids. I've never lost custody of them.
So you do have full custody of your children?
I have full custody of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Because while she's caught up in the drama and the attention, they are the ones left to navigate the instability she's creating. And the fact that she refuses to even acknowledge the long-term damage this pattern is causing says a lot about how little responsibility she's willing to take. This isn't just a personal issue, it's a generational harm. Her kids are watching, learning, and internalizing what love and relationship should look like based on her choices. They are absorbing the message that relationships should be chaotic, unstable, and filled with turmoil. And instead of making better ones, she doubles down, choosing a cycle of instability over self-improvement. What happens when her kids start repeating these same patterns? Will she still be laughing then? Full custody, or just playing with the word? I still legally have custody of my kids. I have never lost custody of them.
Does live with me, but recently she went back for a bit. But my parents helped me raise them after me and their dad split up. So, of course, whenever you're kind of raised by your mom and your grandparents, you kind of fall into like a grandparent's baby, so to speak. And so, I've never been the one to be like, no, you can't go to their house, you know. If that's where they feel more comfortable at, then why not, you know? But I still legally have custody of my kids. I've never lost custody of them.
So you do have full custody of your
Yeah, I
children?
have full custody of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's where Ashley starts playing with technicality. Yes, maybe she's technically has full custody, but the reality is her children do not live with her full time. Even her own daughter admitted that she prefers staying with her grandparents because she feels more comfortable there. And that statement alone should raise serious concerns. So if Ashley really has full custody, why do her kids not want to stay with her? Because they feel safer and more stable elsewhere? That's a hard truth that Ashley refuses to acknowledge. Kids do not just voluntarily choose to stay away from their mother for no reason. That speaks volumes about the environment she has created. Children crave stability, and when they willingly choose to live elsewhere, it says something about the lack of security and comfort in Ashley's home. And let's be clear, this isn't just about preference. This is about where they feel emotionally and physically safe. She can say she has custody all she wants, but if her kids don't live with her by choice, then what does that really tell you? It tells you that having custody on paper means nothing if your children do not feel safer in your care. Custody isn't just a legal status, it's about providing a home where your kids actually want to be. A home where they feel loved, prioritized, and stable. And in Ashley's case, it's clear that her kids are choosing a different path for their own well-being. And instead of facing that reality and working to improving their living environment, she deflects, downplays, and dismisses their choices. That is not the behavior of a responsible parent. It's the behavior of someone more focused on defending herself than actually being there for her kids. Using her kids for TikTok gifts. Seriously? You took my sister being sick and begged for Galaxies to pay for her medical bills.
Okay, so like getting clipped, obviously walking into her room, I told her, let me know when you're on live. So I don't walk into her room and they clip me and post it, because that's happened like twice already. And they zoom in on my face and then people make fun of me.
Okay.
And then there's times where I don't want her to talk about stuff about us, because obviously people are gonna clip it and then share it more online.
Do you think that maybe sometimes she can exploit situations to get views?
I'm gonna be real, yeah.
Because that's the game. But that's your kid.
No, not with them.
She just said yes.
I don't do it with them. I mean, I don't really like to talk about them, honestly. When it comes to my lives now, I tell them, if y'all have anything to say about the kids, I'm not answering it. If anything, I protect them now. When they come in my room, I cover the camera. When they're around, I don't film them.
But have you done that in the past? Have you taken a situation and used it for views regarding the
No.
kids? Would you feel like maybe she has done that ever?
Yeah, but not me and my sister. You've taken her when she was sick and you were begging for money.
When?
You said send the Galaxy to know about my baby girl's health when I was in the hospital.
Oh, that's because, that was like a while back.
This was one of the worst moments in the entire interview. Ashley's own child called her out on camera for using their health issues to beg for TikTok gifts. A child, her own daughter, sat there and confronted her about it, not in private, but on a public platform. That alone speaks volumes about how deep the issue runs and how normalized this behavior has become for Ashley. And what does Ashley do? Laugh. Not an ounce of regret, not even a half-hearted explanation. Just laughing it off like it's some kind of joke. There's no shock, no realization that maybe this is a moment to reflect or apologize. Just a complete utter dismissal of the accusation coming from her own child. There's no apology, no remorse, just deflection instead of owning up to it. Instead of addressing the gravity of what was said, she brushes it off as if it was insignificant, as if her own daughter's words don't hold weight. This is not a troll calling her out. This is not a hater, online twisting narrative. This is her own daughter. Someone who has lived through Ashley's decisions, sitting there and exposing the truth firsthand. Think about that for a second. Imagine your own child telling you that you use their illness for money, and instead of acknowledging it, you laugh it off. What does that say about Ashley's priorities? Because it suddenly doesn't paint a picture of a mother who genuinely cares about how her actions affect their kids. And let's not overlook the sheer emotional weight of this moment. Imagine being a child, watching your parent exploit your struggles for monetary gain, and then having the courage to confront them about it, only to be laughed at in response.
A full-time thing. Like, I was doing it, yes, making money, but saving the money. And so until I got fired, December.
For showing your
Yes.
hoo-ha.
Yes. So when I got fired, I was like, you know what? This has to be my full-time thing now.
How did your parents feel about that?
The nip slip?
And being fired for it?
Um,
Because you were living at their house, right?
no.
Okay, you weren't living
I was already living on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
But did they know about it?
they heard about it. Yeah. My mom wasn't happy. I'm not gonna lie.
Or is she Latina?
Yeah, but she wasn't
You didn't
happy.
get your ass beat?
No, my parents don't. No,
My mother.
no.
Why don't?
And my dad, he was just like, pray about it.
Okay.
You'll find something else. God's not gonna leave you without.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's when you just started battling and making a lot. When was it like, wow, there's a lot of money in this, and what's the most you've ever made on TikTok Live?
So the most I've ever made on TikTok Live was $12,000.
In one sitting?
Yes.
In one live?
Yes.
How many hours?
Like 2.5.
You made 12 grand in 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
That Louis bag ain't fake, y'all. And her kids.
That's heartbreaking. That's damaging. That's the kind of thing that leaves lasting scars. This is not an internet rumor. This is straight from her daughter's mouth. And that alone should tell you everything you need to know. When your own child is the one holding you accountable on a live stream, no less, it's no longer just haters making accusations. It's real. It's undeniable. It's shameful. And it's exactly why people are calling her out. The biggest contradiction. She made $122K US in one live, but her kids don't have bed. The most I ever made on TikTok Live was $122,000 US in one live. Do you have beds at your mom's house? No. This right here is the most insane contradiction of the entire interview. Ashley brags about making 6 figures in one single live stream, yet in the same conversation, her own daughter says she doesn't even have a bed. Let that sink in. A mother who claimed to be providing for her children is out here flaunting her luxury lifestyle while her kids are literally sleeping without proper bed. Where is the money going? Ashley will flex Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci passes, designer shoes, and high-end shopping sprees. But when it comes to the most basic necessity for her children, comfortable sleeping arrangements, she fails. It's not about whether she can afford it. She openly admits she has the money. It's about where her priorities actually are. This isn't just a moment of irresponsibility. This is a blunted display of neglect. How can you sit there and claim to be a good mother while knowingly choosing handbags over beds? It's an undeniable contradiction that exposes. It's an undeniable contradiction that exposes what really matters to Ashley, materialism over motherhood. And instead of recognizing the absurdity of this situation and taking immediate action to fix it, she laughs it off, deflects, and makes the excuses. This isn't just a mistake. It's a pattern of careless behavior that puts her image above the well-being of her children. How does that make sense? It doesn't. And that's exactly why people aren't buying the facade anymore. What do you guys think? Did Ashley just make things worse for herself? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. We'll continue exposing contradictions, holding people accountable, and breaking down the messy world of social media drama. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and don't end up on my channel unless you want to be the next case study.